Welcome, everyone. We'll get started in just a minute or two, just letting people get logged on. This is the Google Plus Local webinar, in case you didn't know where you were. Okay, let's go ahead and get rolling. A couple of logistics to start. I will send you a link to a recording of this presentation, so no need to take intensive notes. I want you to have the chance to listen. Also, if you have any questions, please chat them into the box below this presentation, and I will address as many as I'm able to at the end. If I don't get to your specific question, don't worry. Someone from my team or I will personally follow up with you to make sure your question gets answered. Okay, hello again, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this webinar. My name is James from SoCal Search Engine Marketing, also known as the SEM SEO Sherpa. And today I've got the great pleasure to be talking with you about using Google Plus Local to promote and build your business. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's start off by answering the why. Why should your business bother using Google Plus Local at all? Small businesses typically have few extra resources, so they are very protective over them. For that reason, I want to spend a couple minutes explaining why it's worth your while for your business to set up a Google Plus Local page. The answer to the why question is pretty straightforward. There are two statistics that matter here. First, 97% of consumers search for local businesses online. Second, the clear majority of those local searches are done using Google, which is still the undisputed king of web search. Moreover, Google has clearly decided to put a lot of value on local listings in their search results. So if you take all of these things together, you can see that Google Plus Local is an incredible opportunity to get in front of your target market. Right at the moment they're looking for what you sell. Here's a list of benefits that businesses experience when they use Google Plus Local. As you can see, Google Plus Local is a free resource that helps you get found online, drive more traffic to your website, stand out in a crowded market, and acquire insight into the customer base. Google Plus Local also helps you engage with your customers using a variety of media types, increase sales with promos and special offers, and ultimately boost your overall profitability. Before we go too much further, let's take a moment to make sure we're all on the same page in terms of exactly what Google Plus Local is. In the simplest terms, Google Plus Local is a tool that allows business owners to update and manage their physical business location information and connect with local customers. What does that look like in practice? On this page, you'll see a screenshot of a SERP, aka a search engine results page. There are a few components to this page, as most of you know. At the very top, you have the sponsored listings. Second from the top, you have the natural or organic listings. Now notice the map on the right corner. If you click on that, Google takes you to a map populated with local businesses that fit your search term. This is where you can see your businesses like Google Plus Local page. Now let's take a closer look at that local listing. Here's a local page. At the very top, you can find out all the basic information about a business, from the address and phone number to how they get there by public transportation, and even the price of a restaurant's average entree. If you're a business owner, you can update and edit this information in your Google Plus Local for Business account. Another cool feature that you'll find here is the ability for business owners to post their local page, which allows businesses to give updates and share information with customers quickly. Further down, you'll see a section where you can upload photos and videos. Other photos may appear from various sources. You can click on the photo thumbnail to visit its source. Business owners can upload up to 10 photos and 5 videos for each business listing. We strongly recommend your full allotment of photos and videos. You want to use them all, believe me, but we'll get more into that later. So scroll down further and you will see customer reviews. These reviews are a great way to harness the power of social proof. In May 2012, Google totally revamped its scoring system, replacing the 4 to 5 star ratings with Zagat's 30-point scale. According to Google, this expressive rating system makes it easier for users to better share their view about what makes a place unique. Your customers will be able to rate your business on multiple criteria on a 1 to 3 scale. Average scores are calculated on a 30-point scale based on user reviews, where a 26 to 30 score indicates a range from extraordinary to perfection, and 21 to 25 score represents very good to excellent, 16 to 20 score, very good to good, and so on. These scores will show you several scores for different criteria. For example, restaurants are scored across 3 areas: food, decor, and service, with food being the primary aspect. When Google doesn't have enough user ratings on different aspects, it will just show an overall score. An overall score is comparable to a score on the primary aspect for a location, like food for restaurants. Why do consumer reviews matter? It's pretty simple. Users put a ton of trust in their social networks. 90% trust online recommendations from people they know. But get this, 70% trust opinions of unknown users they have never met. In other words, Google Plus Local gives your business an incredible opportunity to harness the power of social proof, a psychological phenomenon where people assume the actions of others reflect correct behavior. That's a highfalutin way of saying that we're a bunch of pack animals. We follow the herd. Google Plus Local will help your business fully capitalize on our innate desire to fit in and belong. The last part of the listing I want to show you is below the profile image. You'll see there are 3 buttons there that will help users share your page. They can print your page, email your page or to a friend or family member, or grab a link to share through another channel, e.g. Twitter, Facebook, or instant message. So if you haven't done so already, your first action item when you leave this webinar is to claim your listing. This is a very simple 3-step process. You might be wondering why Google sends you a postcard with a verification number, but the reasoning is pretty simple. Google wants to make sure that only businesses with physical locations have a locale on their map. Here's what the confirmation postcard looks like. Okay, now it's time to get into the fun stuff. How to make the most of your new platform in Google. How to create a local listing that delivers the biggest return for your business. By taking the time to optimize your listing, you'll raise the profile of your page and get more prospects to click through, visit your business, and ultimately purchase your products or services. For the next few minutes, I'm going to outline a few simple ways you can improve your page and make sure it performs at a high level for your business. So I'll start out with the simplest and most important thing you can do to optimize your Google Plus local page. Fill it out. Seriously, that's it. Complete all text fields, even the ones that aren't required, particularly email address, website URL, description, and categories. On this slide, you'll see a helpful quote from SEO Moz, who know what they're talking about when it comes to Google. The larger point is this: don't do just the bare minimum. Make sure it's 100% complete. In the optimization game, a listing that's 90% complete isn't an A-, it's an F. One of the most important ranking factors, if not the most important, is overall page completeness. So again, fill it out. For those of you toughing it out in crowded markets, the next best thing you can do to improve visibility of your listing vis-a-vis your competitors is to acquire citations from other directories. What's a citation? It's a listing of your business on another local directory. Here's the deal. Google crawls the web for information, citations, about your business from a variety of third-party sources, including Yelp and Yellow Pages. The more citations or mentions you have, the more content Google's spiders have to work with, and the more authority your Google Plus local listing will have. The more authority and credibility that your business has in the eyes of Google, the more likely your listing is to appear on the top of the results. Additionally, it's important to make sure that the information you submit to other directories is consistent. Accuracy across all or almost all citation sources helps associate trust with a local page. On this page, you'll see a long list of directories you can get citations from, starting with some of the bigger ones. Here's a more challenging but very effective way to boost the position of your page. Get your customers to write reviews. That means getting in the habit of asking your customers, particularly when they offer unsolicited positive feedback, to take a few moments to put their experience into words and submit it to Google for the world to see. Another approach is to give people a gift or enter them into a drawing in exchange for their time to submit a review. If you take this route, the important thing to stress is that you're not asking them for a positive review, because that would be a bribe of sorts. Emphasize that you want them to be honest in their assessment of your company, and that they'll get rewarded for their honesty. More often than not, people will be happy to write a review. A few, though, will balk because they're not sure what to say. When this happens, just give them a few prompts, but take care not to put words in their mouth, because their review might come across as scripted and insincere, which, needless to say, defeats the purpose. Lastly, a word to the wise: do not under any circumstances write bogus reviews and submit them under a pseudonym. We'll talk more about that later and why that's a bad idea. The other thing you can do is add images. SEO analysts have documented a strong correlation between a page's rankings and the number of photos and videos it has. So make sure to max out your allowed number of images. High-quality photos will really help your business stand out from the crowd. If you have the budget, I strongly recommend hiring a local photographer to take some photos. They will go a long way, and you can leverage them on other platforms as well. Another way to leverage your listing is to include offers. This is a pretty great feature because it's a surefire way to translate online visits into in-store purchases. A few general tips for creating offers. 1. Make sure they comply with Google's rules. 2. Make sure it's a good offer. Be generous. 3. Make sure you provide some context. In other words, let the buyer know how much value they're getting, This will boost the strength of your offer. Okay, now I want to take a couple minutes to identify some hazards and pitfalls that you should avoid when using Google Plus Local. I may sound like a broken record here, but it's worth mentioning again. Don't leave gaps in your page. Fill it out completely. As I mentioned earlier, page completeness is one of the most important ranking factors. So it's vitally important to dot every I and cross every T when you're setting up your listing. Don't just go through the motions. As a surprise, a fresh, regularly updated page will always outperform a stale and neglected page. If you want your Google Plus Local page to really deliver value to your business, you need to add some value to it on a regular basis. Consider creating a recurring calendar event to remind yourself to log into Google and freshen up your page and read the latest customer reviews. This will also give you an opportunity to view your analytics and see how your page is performing. Unfortunately, many businesses have received some really bad advice when it comes to Google Plus Local optimization. One of the worst pieces of advice is to stuff your page with keywords. This is dumb for two reasons. First, it tempts the wrath of the Google gods, who consider this a form of spamming. Second, it just makes you look cheesy to your would-be customers. By all means, do some keyword research and use them in your page, but don't overdo it. It may have worked in the past, but not anymore. Google is getting wise. Okay, now let's address some of the frequently asked questions that business have regarding Google Plus Local. If you don't see yours here, don't hesitate to ask me when I open up for questions at the end. Number 1, how can I make the most of my Google listing? We've already covered the basics, but I'll review them anyway, because repetition is the mother of learning and the father of excellence. 1, make sure your listing is complete. More than that, make sure you've taken every opportunity to go above and beyond the bare minimum. Add a bunch of photos and take time to write a compelling company description. Create listings in other directories, making sure to include the exact same information in each one. And lastly, encourage your happy customers to write positive reviews. Next question, what if I get a bad review? How do I take it down? The bad news is you can't take it down unless it violates Google's terms of use. And that's a very tough case to make. It's going to require a really egregious situation to convince Google to remove a review. Google will look for any reason to leave the comment in local. That's not because they're heartless and don't care about your reputation. It's because they need to maintain their own reputation as a fair and neutral party. But you can always attempt to diffuse bad reviews by responding publicly. In some cases, this can end up being a PR victory for your business, because it shows the public that you take customer complaints seriously and are committed to excellent service. Although businesses get nervous about Google Plus Local reviews because they're out of their control, it's our belief that you should really embrace this feature. Both positive and negative feedback can be good for your business and help it grow. Even though it's sometimes hard to hear, think about it this way. A customer who has written a review has taken the time to invest in the success of your business. If you've made a business improvement based on a review, you should thank the user and share the change. Here is a common asked question. Why isn't my listing showing up in the results? Not surprisingly, marketing on Google Plus Local has gotten very competitive. In the old days, you could simply fill out your business listing on Google and see it in the, quote, 7-pack a few weeks later. These days, if your listing doesn't have a 100% score, you can forget about being listed in the first 7 local businesses that Google displays for local results. There are a number of ways to vie for good position, as we've just covered. Why is there already a listing for my business? It's pretty simple. Google spiders can crawl the web and assemble a page automatically. using the information they find from other domains. Additionally, new listings can be created by anyone. Which brings us to the last question. Why do I need to claim my listing? Claiming your listing has several benefits. First, and most important, is that it locks your listing to everyone else. You now own it and the majority of its contents, excluding the customer reviews, of course. Another benefit is that claiming your listing provides information on who is viewing it. You can see how many times your listing is shown up in searches, how many people viewed it, even how many people asked for directions. At this point, you might be feeling overwhelmed. And to be perfectly honest, there will be some challenges in this process, and some ongoing effort will be necessary to really be successful. But don't be discouraged by these challenges because recall the benefits. Google plus Local is a great tool to have in your marketing arsenal. It's a form of advertising that's affordable, effective, and relevant. Further, recall that 97% of customers use search engines to find local companies, with the 2/3 using Google to do so. And you can do it. Google plus Local is not rocket science, not by any stretch of the imagination. So don't worry. You have everything you need to be successful, and if you need help or encouragement along the way, you can always call on me or a member of my team to help you get unstuck. Okay, we made it, everybody. That's the end of the presentation. I hope this has been helpful, and I really appreciate the time you took out of your busy schedule to be here with me today. Please take what you've learned and apply one thing today, one thing tomorrow, and don't stop until your business is taking off like a rocket. I guarantee you it will be worth your time. So now let's open it up to some questions. Let's see. It looks like we've already got a couple queued up, so we'll start with these. Can I hire someone to submit positive reviews to Google Plus Local? The answer to that is no. This practice, widely considered a form of spamming, violates the terms of most web directories. The ones worth your time anyway. Even if the reviews are legitimate, maybe they came from surveys or comment cards or something, even then, you're not supposed to submit them on behalf of the original author according to Google's policy. This was a practice in the past, and it got quite a few people in trouble. What if I don't have a store or office? Can I still create a listing? Yes, you certainly can, but you still need to submit a mailing address to Google to create your listing. If you work from home or you are a mobile business, you can specify a service area in the sign-up process and opt in to hide your address. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up there. Thank you so much for joining me today, and again, if you like some assistance using Google Plus Local for your business or a more general internet marketing strategy, we'd love to help. Please just get in touch.